Hi folks, Pete Lane. Welcome to another iPhone 101 demonstration from Blind Abilities. Today we're going to review the Voice Memos app. This is a native Apple app that comes on every iDevice, whether it's your iPhone, iPad, or iPod Touch. It's also available on the Mac. In recent iOS updates, the Voice Memos app has undergone some substantial improvements, and it now stands as a very sophisticated and robust recording app. But yet, the interface is extremely simple, even for voiceover users. It can be used to record lectures, conversations, thoughts, ideas, music, or pretty much anything that comes to mind while you're on the go. And remember, it's right there in your iDevice. And so, without further ado, yeah, you got it. Let's get started. Hey Siri, open Voice Memos.
Voice Memos, record button.
And as you notice, it lands right on the record button. Let's flick back.
Tap the record button to start a voice memo.
Pretty self-explanatory.
Record button.
Let's go ahead and do that right now. This is a test for an iPhone 101 demo. Today is October 14th, 2021. I'll do a two-finger double tap to stop recording. Let's explore this screen.
Voice Memos, back button, edit button, all recordings, heading.
So one of the first pieces of information I heard,
all recordings, heading.
We have an all recordings heading. I'll continue to flick to the right.
Search field, new recording, text field, 10:18 a.m., more actions, button, track position, 0 seconds of 16 seconds, adjustable, playback settings, new recording text field.
Now you heard new recording text field. This will allow me to name this recording as it's currently blank.
More actions button.
There's a more actions button, which we'll go into in one moment.
Track position, 0 seconds of 16 seconds, adjustable.
Now here we heard track position, 0 seconds of 16 seconds. That means my recording was 16 seconds long. Now another thing that strikes me is that I made quite a bit of noise, how unprofessional of me, at the beginning of the recording. And then at the end, I said the date and things like that, which we may not want to keep. But first of all, I want to get an idea how long I tapped and scratched my fingers over the bottom of the phone where the microphone is. I want to trim that mess off the beginning of the recording. Let's flick to the right, see if we can find a play button.
Playback settings button, actions available.
There's another button that we will explore in just a few moments. I'll continue to flick right.
Play button, actions available.
Let's do a single finger double tap on the play button. This is a test for an iPhone 101. Let's see where our track position sits now. Flicking backwards.
Playback settings button, track position, 6 seconds of 16 seconds, adjustable.
Now I'm at 6 seconds. I went about a second or a second and a half beyond the introduction that I want to remove. Since this is an adjustable picker item, I'll flick down with one finger and we'll see how far back it takes me.
4 seconds of 16 seconds.
See, I think that's about perfect. Let's assume the first 4 seconds of this recording are not worth keeping. Let's go back to our More Actions button. I'll flick to the left.
More Actions button, actions available.
Single finger double tap.
New recording, audio recording, middle dot 653 kilobytes, heading.
Now let's flick to the right and see what more actions are available.
Close button, copy button.
We can copy it.
Share button.
We can share, which would bring up our standard iOS share sheet.
Save to Dropbox button, save to files button, edit recording button, duplicate button, favored button, move to folder button, edit actions button.
Let's go back to
edit recording button.
Edit recording. I'll do a single finger double tap. I'll flick to the right.
New recording, text field, duration, 16 seconds, playback settings, button, trim, button.
There we go. Single finger double tap. Now, when trimming an audio file in our Voice Memos app, what you will be trimming is the beginning of the audio file and the end of the audio file.
Trim beginning, waveform overview, 0 seconds, adjustable.
Now there's our trim beginning adjustable item. Remember that everything between the beginning of the trim that we enter here and
trim end, waveform overview, 16.3 seconds, adjustable.
The value we place in the trim end field will be what we keep. So our first setting will be
trim beginning, Waveform overview, 0 seconds, adjustable.
Now remember, we heard that the garbage at the beginning of our recording lasted just about 4 seconds. So let's see if I can set this value as close to 4 seconds as I can. I'll flick up since it is a picker item.
1.6 seconds.
Another time.
3.3 seconds. 4.9 seconds.
Now 4.9 seconds is a little bit too far into the audio file. If we trim that off the beginning, we will be deleting some of my initial verbiage. So I want to roll this back just a little bit, not all the way back to
3.3 seconds,
but somewhere between 3.3,
4.9 seconds,
and 4.9 seconds. Obviously, I can't get that precise just by flicking up or down. So because it is a picker or a slider item, we have some other alternatives. If I do a double tap and hold, I can then drag my finger to the right or to the left to increase or decrease the value, hopefully incrementally and not in such large segments as the flick up and down with one finger would bring. So let me do that. I'll do a single finger double tap and hold. And remember, I'm on 4.9 seconds. And I want to roll this back to as close to 4 seconds as I can get. If I can get within a tenth or two of a second, I'll consider myself lucky. Let's give it a try. Single finger double tap and hold. Now I'm just going to roll my finger to the left.
Move beginning of selection.
You heard VoiceOver say move beginning of selection. Let's flick to the left and then back to the right and see where I landed.
Delete button. Trim beginning. Waveform overview, 3.8 seconds.
I'm going to call that about perfect. So I'm going to leave the trim beginning value at 3.8 seconds. Now let's just go to the trim end value.
Trim end. Waveform overview, 16.3 seconds.
So I am at 16.3 seconds, which is the end of the recording. I want to get this down to as close to 14, maybe 14.5 seconds. So let's flick down with one finger and see what value change that results in. I'll flick down.
14.7 seconds.
Flick down one more time, although I think it will take it down too far.
13.1 seconds.
Now this time I'm going to start my double tap and hold on 13.1. And remember, the double tap and hold gesture is a double tap, but instead of removing your finger after your second tap, you leave it on the screen and then slide ever so lightly to the right to increase the increment of this value. In fact, I think I'll roll the pad of my right index finger just a bit to the right and see if that breaks down a little bit less drastic change in the value. So I'll do my single finger double tap and hold now. Now I'll roll my finger to the right and lift it. And let's see where we landed with my slight roll of the finger.
Trim end. Waveform overview, 14 seconds, adjustable.
Well, there we are. We're right at 14 seconds. I'm going to call it a day on that one. Now let's look for our trim button, and we'll actually cut the beginning section and the ending section. Let's flick up to the top using my handy dandy 4-finger single tap at the top of the screen. Now we'll flick to the right.
Trim.
That's just a heading. Continuing to flick to the right.
Current position, 14 seconds, trim button.
There's our trim button. Single finger double tap.
Cancel button.
Let's see how our resulting recording sounds. I'll go to the play button.
Play button.
Single finger double tap.
Play button.
This is a test for an iPhone 101 demo. Today is October 14th, 2021.
Play button.
Close enough for today's demo. So you get the idea. There's still a little bit of extraneous noise at the very end there, but that's good enough for now. Remember, we're not into editing a national podcast or a national TV show. We just wanted to clean it up a little bit. So I'll go back to my save button, flicking to the left.
Save button.
There it is. Single finger double tap.
Trim mode ended.
Okay, let's go ahead and name our recording. We'll flick to the text field.
New recording, text field.
Single finger double tap to set our insertion point.
Text field is editing, insertion point at start.
That'll be a 2-finger double tap or magic tap to begin dictation. iPhone 101 test recording 1, October 14, 2021.
Inserted iPhone 101 test recording 1, October 14th, 2021.
So that new title will remain. Let's look for those other settings I mentioned we would explore.
Playback settings button.
Playback settings. Now with iOS 15, Apple implemented a couple of brand new settings under the heading of playback settings. Let's explore what they are. Single finger double tap to open this.
Reset playback settings, dimmed button.
We don't want to reset them yet. Let's flick to the right.
Options, heading.
Here are our options.
Playback speed, heading.
There's our playback speed. This is a heading. Flicking to the right.
Playback speed slider, 1x, adjustable.
Playback speed slider, and we're currently on 1x, which is your normal playback speed. I'll flick up since it's a slider.
1.25x, 1.5x, 1.75x, 2x.
And we can play back this audio recording at 2x, which is twice as fast as the normal speed. That's a little fast for the purpose of this demo, so I'll flick down to revert it back to
1.25x,
1.25x. Let's flick to the right and see what else we have available.
skip silence,
We have a skip silence heading, which is pretty cool. If there are any periods of silence in the recording, the playback would skip over those and essentially shorten the recording. So let's turn this on, although I'm not sure there are any periods of silence in my recording. We'll flick to the right.
switch button, off,
This is a toggle switch. I will turn it on with a single finger double tap.
on,
Continuing to flick to the right.
enhance recording,
Enhanced recording is not new with iOS 15, but what it will do is enhance the audio quality of the recording. So let's turn it on and let's see if we can hear any difference in the quality of the audio when we do play it back in a minute. I'll flick to the right,
switch button, off,
toggle it on with a single finger double tap.
on, enhance mode on,
Cool. That's it for our playback settings. Now I will go to the top of the screen with a 4-finger single tap.
reset playback settings button,
Now a reset would put them back to their default settings, which I do not want to do. So I'll flick to the right and see what else is available.
options, heading, close button,
There it is. I'll close this menu option.
sheet grabber button,
So now we're back on our previous screen and we should be set to play it back and have a listen to what our final recording sounds like. Let's flick to the right and find a play button.
play button,
Single finger double tap.
This is a test for an iPhone 101 demo. Today is October 14th, 2021.
So there is our resulting recording. As you heard, the playback speed was increased. We had it set at 1.25 times the normal playback speed. That was obvious. I'm going to do a separate recording to focus on the skip silence mode and the enhanced recording mode. For that purpose, I'll be recording using only my iPhone with its built-in microphones, and I will be playing that recording directly through my audio mixer into my Mac audio recording software. And the reason I'm doing that is because whenever audio files are shared, any use of those specific features will not be shared along with the audio file. That is, if I use the skip silence mode and or the enhanced recording feature, if I were to share that with somebody using the share sheet features such as iMessage, Mail, uploading to Dropbox, or to the Files app, those features are stripped from the recording and only the original recording will be shared. I have replayed 2 versions of this recording through my mixer into my Mac. This version that you will hear first is the raw recording without any of the playback features activated. The second will be the same recording with the playback settings for skip silence and enhanced recording activated. I think you'll notice a difference between the two. Hi, this is Pete. I'm doing a separate test of the Voice Memos app with a specific emphasis on 2 features. First, I want to test the quiet silence mode. So for that purpose, I will stop speaking for about 3 to 4 seconds to leave a period of silence to see if the Voice Memos skips that silence as advertised during the playback. And I'll stop talking now. I will resume speaking now. And secondly, I will turn on the enhanced audio feature to see if the quality changes with that setting in the on position. And with that, I'll conclude this recording. Thank you very much. And this next version will be the same recording, but with those playback features activated. Hi, this is Pete. I'm doing a separate test of the Voice Memos app with a specific emphasis on 2 features. First, I want to test the quiet silence mode. So for that purpose, I will stop speaking for about 3 to 4 seconds to leave a period of silence to see if the Voice Memos skips that silence as advertised during the playback. And I'll stop talking now. I will resume speaking now. And secondly, I will turn on the enhanced audio feature to see if the quality changes with that setting in the on position. And with that, I'll conclude this recording. Thank you very much. So in summary, you heard 2 recordings, the first of which was the unaltered, unmodified recording without either of those 2 features activated, skip silence and enhance recording. That recording contained the full silence representing the pause I made about midway through the recording. It was about 5 seconds long. The second recording cut that period of silence down to less than 1 second. It also cut out other small pieces of silence that I didn't even recognize. The resulting length of the modified recording was about 7 seconds shorter than the original raw recording. Additionally, I could hear a distinctive difference in the modified recording in terms of its audio quality. It was cleaner, crisper, and did not contain all of the background noises that the initial raw recording contained. And so, we have reviewed a couple of new settings in the native Apple audio playback app settings. The app we used is Voice Memos, which is the built-in Apple audio recording application. The new features we reviewed are the playback settings. We also reviewed the trim feature, which is not a perfect or precise instrument with which to delete sections of the recording, but it will clean it up without a lot of effort. At any rate, we hope you have enjoyed this presentation and have learned from it. Thanks so much for listening, and have a great day.
When we share
what we see
through each other's eyes, we can then begin to bridge the gap between
the limited expectations and the realities of blind abilities.
The realities of blind abilities.
For more podcasts with a blindness perspective, check us out on the web at www.blindabilities.com, on Twitter at blindabilities. Download our app from the App Store, blindabilities, that's 2 words, or send us an email at info@blindabilities.com. Thanks for listening.